but I'm going to blag it somewhere. So first and foremost, probably from my accent, I'll tell you that I was not born in Africa. I was born in London. And I spent the best part of 30-something years in London, studying electronic and telecommunications engineering and network engineering and all the types of engineering that you could. As a woman, 2% of my class. And I got back to Nigeria on holiday, and I thought, this place looks nice. The weather looks nice. It's not as cold as where I'm coming from and things like that. And I decided I might stay here. And after about probably the best part of 12 months I'd been in the country, I went to an event, and so I didn't know anyone, because my parents, I'm third generation British, so my parents, my grandparents are in London. And I didn't know anyone, but I just joined a lot of youth groups, and I was volunteering here and there. I was not getting paid, volunteering here and there, and I met lots of people. And then on one particular day, I volunteered to compare at an event. And the newly appointed ministers were around at the time, so one of them walked into the room, and someone said to him, oh, she's a social media guru. Me? Social media what? I studied engineering. I don't know what you're talking about. But I had to go along. Yes, sir, I am a guru. And I got home that night, and I studied as much as I could about social media, which I'd only dabbled in here and there. And I got appointed as a special assistant on social media to the Minister of Communications. And I worked there for 4 years, tirelessly, but I enjoyed my job. And then the new set of ministers came in, and 5 ministers asked me to come and work with them. 5 ministers. And I decided to work with the Minister of Youth and Sports. I don't know anything about sports. Until today, I still don't. But I decided to stick to the youth side. So I became the special assistant on ICT, corporate relations, and youth to the Minister of Youth and Sports. And I'm speaking much about this particular role because it's a role that I enjoyed much. It's a role where I learned a lot, not just about myself, but more about the continent and more about the people here in this room. You see, we don't know our potential. We don't know what we're capable of. It's until, they say when a woman is like a tea bag. When she's put into a hot cup of water is when you realize her strength. And that goes the same for we young people. I'm not so young, but I'm a little bit young. So I'll speak from that perspective. And I was at a Youth Connect Africa event. I don't know, how many of us know about Youth Connect Africa? Okay, a few. So those of us that don't, we need to. Youth Connect Africa is a massive, massive platform for young people. And I was at an intergenerational dialogue where Paul Kagame answered a question. And he said, and the question was, sir, do you think we young people are too inexperienced to be in government? And he said, no, because government needs the swiftness of the young people and the experience of the old. So it's a two-way street, you see. They need to work with us and we need to work with them. We can't move the continent forward if we don't find that synergy. Another thing I learned over the years was that when you're demoralized, when you're unhappy, you're unable to really achieve the best that's in you. And I'm going to say this as a continent. We are in a lot of debt. We owe money here and owe money there. And even as individuals, we owe money. And as countries, we owe money. And when you get to the point that you're demoralized, you will not come out to vote. You will not vote for one of you. You will not be able to stand tall. So they'll keep on borrowing you money. They'll make life hard for you because they know that then you will not be able to reach your full potential. So us as young people, as African people, so let's even stop the word young people, because you're only as old as you feel, right? Yeah. I'm 43, but I feel 16. So you see, one thing you need to have is what they call an added advantage. So I studied electronic and telecoms engineering, and then I did network engineering, then I did project management, and then I wrote a book, and now I have an underwear store, and I also have a foundation. I make money from multiple streams. My job in government stopped 2 months ago, but I'm still flying around the world. I'm still giving speeches on international stages because I have what? I have an added advantage. And that is that I don't believe that this is the finite of who I am. I don't believe that this is the finite of what Africa can be. I don't believe this is the finite of you and you and you. It's not about that. Every day we keep on learning, so every day we can get better. So even if right there you see, I say to everyone every day that I can be a neurosurgeon in the next 6 years if I choose to. It's about my choice and what I want to apply myself to. So what do you apply yourself to? What do you study every evening when you get home? What do you do with your phones? There are so many opportunities, so many Harvard Institute scholarships for young people. How many of you have keyed in? What is your product? Besides your job and what you're studying at school, what is your product? What is your product? What is the additional thing you bring into the mix? We go on social media and we pull down our continent. We say Africa is bad, our leaders are bad. How do we get foreign direct investment if we're telling people to invest in something that is bad? Do you think it's possible? We need to be ambassadors for Africa. When we go out there, we need to make people say, if this is what Africa produces, I want to be part of Africa. It's very important for us to, if we've not totally seen our potential, let's try to work on it. And there's one thing we need to stop, and that is, we call it the pull her down syndrome. But there's also the pull him down syndrome. I love the fact that we're very gender friendly and gender understanding. But my dear people, I don't believe that black lives matter. I believe black boys' lives matter. Because we concentrate so much on the women nowadays. Who's concentrating on the men? If you can, in Islam, I'm not a Muslim, I'm a Christian, but I believe that we all serve the same God. There's a saying that says, you look after your family first. I don't know, I think it's in the Quran or something. Look after your family first, and then the next person you look after is your neighbor. Because when you're in trouble, it's your neighbor that's going to save you in the middle of the night. She is your neighbor. I am your neighbor. Nigeria is your neighbor. Ethiopia is your neighbor. Look after your neighbor. And I think if we do that, each and every one of us can collectively make our continent a beautiful place. Thank you so much.
Just need to say it. Wow. Clap for Anna. We're not going to... See, Africa is not boring people. We're happy people. Yeah. See, I see something that she said. I want to say. She said she studied something else. And she went for a program. And from there, she was appointed by a minister. Do we have a minister in the house? Do we have a minister in the house? Minister, I'm not looking at you. Please, you can appoint one of us. We have fabulous young people, at least for the skills and employment area. You can appoint one of our own to speak for young people. This will be a win-win for all young Africans. And if we go to other countries, we do this and the minister appoint, we'll have young people that will have experience to drive the Africa that we want.
Thank you very much. Madam Oluwakemi, that was well articulate, inspiring. It's indeed a pleasure to have you here today. These young students have got many things from your experience, your story, I hope. And it was really inspiring. As she said, we should learn to live together. Our fates are intertwined. We are destined to live or to die together. So we need to come together as Africans and change our future. Thank you very much. Let's proceed to the award, yes? And then we are going to have a closing remark by the minister, yes? So, shall we have the closing remark and the award? Or?
No, we did not tell His Excellency before. 2021, he was the one that presented awards to few individuals that were shortlisted in Skylight Hotel. And I will beg him today to help us do same, to present award to the few shortlisted